I think of a woman that actually, she didn't poop, she didn't take pictures of her shit, but she forced herself to vomit, and she took food coloring and dyes and stuff so she would puke in colors. And she did a photo series about it. She puked a rainbow, basically. Which was really kind of cute. I mean, I showed her work a long time ago for that. You know, it relates to that whole thing about being a female, being diet and so forth. But the whole idea, I mean, puking in rainbows was sort of about making fun of that idea that it's not really all that fun, but we're gonna play with it. What I was doing here with the saints, or the canonized saints, is it's a collection of images of my shit. Well, it is my shit, and then I dress it up as paper dolls. What I'm doing here is grabbing images from my pets, or out of my life, out of the newspaper, out of anything that comes across my table, internet, so forth. There's Patreus's girlfriend in here, there's vampires and so forth. What's happening is I actually take the shit out of the toilet, the turd out of the toilet, and sculpt it into, using my knife that I keep right here, and sculpt it into faces. So if you get an image, you can, if you look closely at the photographs, you can see that they're actually shaped, and then place them back in the toilet and dress them up as paper dolls. So, well, beforehand I make the images or the drawings for the paper dolls and insert them back in the toilet, take the photographs, and then collect the material or the paper doll material from the photographs in order to be using later as another assemblage piece. So not only will I have the photographs, but then I will have a piece that goes with these things. Well, yeah, that's what one does with a lot of latex gloves. You know, they're great. Latex gloves are great for probing. Extract that one of those poops right out of the toilet and put it on the counter and start shaping that thing. And I have a whole series of tools that I use in order to sculpt the face into it and to put the lips in, put the nose in, and then reinsert it back into the toilet so that I may take the photograph. I don't really have that big of a problem with the smell of my shit. It's just shit, you know. I've had a kid, I've cleaned up a baby shit, I have dogs, I have cats, I've cleaned up shit, tons of shit all over the place. It's not that big of a deal. Halo that go with the tree piece over there, which are her conquests, or a female's conquest. So the tree sits directly under this halo of flowers and sticks, and this is where that woman is lifted above. It's a collection of penises for women's conquests, and the piece was called shit. I can't remember the name of the piece. Porcelina, that's what it was. It was the Porcelina song. These are females' conquests, your collection, just like notching my belt. But it's set up for a woman. I have my own. I collect earrings. A lot of the shit that I do comes from either internet or what comes in the mail. This used to come in the mail. These are from Victoria's Secret catalogs and Fredericks of Hollywood. And these are the shapes between people's legs or their negative spaces. For example, like this one here, this is from Fredericks of Hollywood, and that's the space between her legs. So what I did was I built these things and then took their poses. So I became the models. I became those those sexual, coquettish type females. I took those poses and hired a photographer to photograph me to do that, to set all those things up. So that's where the negative space comes from. And the pets, I wanted them to be animated. I wanted that negative space to have a sense of being, so that it wasn't just nothing, so it became solid. I would just take the simple pose of one of the catalog women. In this particular case, it would be a woman, or in that case, it would be a woman, in order to play the role of the goddess or the sex object. When I did the photos from International Male, whenever women came over and saw those photographs, they were more excited about those. So there must be a significant pose that males take that attracts women, that comes through in those catalog poses. That's my family. My daughter, she's really pissed. I made her a virgin. So this is from Mary, How to Raise a Virgin, Mary's Chapel. It's the icon, it's one of the photographs. It's under my house. I have a chapel under my house. It has stained glass windows in it and stuff. And this is the Holy Family, and this is my daughter, and she's a virgin. She's going to be married and have a baby Jesus. These happen to be the negative spaces. Which pose is that? Frederick's the Hollywood catalog pose. This is Brian playing horsey with me. And this is me in the spanking machine, which is some of those negative spaces over there. They're all large-scale photographs. Is there one before that? Oh yeah, see those guys. I knew I was doing more yoga poses. This is the crown for Miss America or the Miss Molester contest. This happened to come from the internet. It's an article that was posted on all sites. If you Google it, you'll find it. So what they did is, it's the 10 hottest female sex molesters incarcerated in Texas. So what attracted me to this is like, who in the fuck has time to go through everybody's image of the sex molesters incarcerated anywhere and then turn it into a beauty contest and determine which ones are the hottest ones, which just threw me off right there. It's like totally backwards and upside down, which is why the paintings are hanging upside down, because the whole thing is fucked up and backwards. I thought to myself, okay, so if these are the 10 hottest in Texas, I bet California's got a bunch of hotter little sex molesters incarcerated, so we should have our own beauty contest. And it should be an international one or a national one. We'll just start with national, like Miss America, Miss Molester. Boogeyman goes with it, except that's for the male version, because I'm doing the 10 hottest males too, because I gotta be equal time, right? And because I think that people will hold that differently. When they look at male molesters, they tend to have an entirely different context about them, and they have a whole different feeling. When they look at female molesters, they go, wow, cool, I'd like to be molested by her. You know, that kind of thing. Whereas as a male molester, they want to kill that bastard. It's a whole different kind of sensibility about it, but it's the same thing. So anyway, male and female, I wanted to play those gender issues with it. If you were in an Islamic culture, then probably being stoned would be the result of this, or the punishment for this crime. So I made a bunch of styrofoam rocks to get stoned with. So you could stone someone to death, but not really to death. Obviously, they're styrofoam.
So, just go away. Wait in line. Don't have no time.
Here you go. The sheep were of that same, what I always thought was a myth, an urban myth, like that poodle in the microwave story. And people always said, hey, people fuck sheep. I never believed it. I thought, oh, you know, I'm an urban person. Haven't been around sheep. Well, that's why I created this thing, because I thought that was just a total myth. But since then, I found out, actually, people do fuck their livestock. all the time in the Midwest. They do it on a regular basis, so it's not an unusual thing. I guess it's normal when you're out there being a sheep herder or a cow wrangler, whatever, all those cowboys. They're out there. I've heard stories where cows back up to the fence waiting to get fucked by people, by men. Of course, by men, I assume. They should be on my molester pages. I should get their images, but I haven't found those yet. I haven't really searched for them either. If we're going to play with these sheep, then I'm going to create them all as virgins, and they're all going to have halos, and once they get fucked, they lose their halo. So when I exhibited this thing the first time in a gallery, all the halos were on the other side of the room except 2 or 3, and the 21 sheep, the flock, basically my flock, was on the other side of the room. I said there's been a lot of pictures of girls photographed with their fingers up their little golden assholes of the sheep. After they ended up fucking them, they ended up killing them and slaughtering them and cutting them up and sending them to us for food. And we end up eating them. The rollers were devised as an optical sort of device, but more of a play toy or a play object so that you can roll them. Sort of like bowling, same idea as the bowling thing here, except that they're compelled to be more like a tire with a distortion to it so that you look like, everything looks like it's wobbling when it's going forward. What these are, they're double as a place setting or as images or shapes for representing flatware. So what I've also done to edit them or to change them and add something to them is I turned them into flying saucers. And normally you can't do these with plates. So that's me with the beards, but Fu Manchu, the, what is that one called? The Pharaoh and the Hasidic beard and the Prophet. This one is the Egyptian. For some reason, a lot of cultures, they're just obsessed with the idea that their beard must grow. They can never cut their beard, and it's part of their soul. Definitely Eastern cultures feel like that, or Mid-Eastern. This is more of a Germanic aspect. This is Santa's beard. And this is what happens when you're balding. I'm going for balding. My grandfather was bald, so I have that gene. So I should be going bald, so I should have this nice little toupee thing on my head. You know who Bill Bradford was? Bill Bradford was a serial killer from the 80s. And the way he lured people into, or women into his studio was by being a photographer. And he would bring them in and take all these photos. So I think he was only sentenced for 4 killings. That's all they could really find enough evidence for him. But he had 52 photographs of women that he had lured into his studio. Out of those 52, 25 of them are still missing from 1985. So I painted all their portraits. I painted all their hair like this. And these were the paintings of them. So without their faces, I just painted their hair because I didn't really want you to identify the kind of woman that he was looking for, but I wanted to set the style and the time. And so the hairstyles from all the paintings tell you what kind of time this took place in. I mean, it was mid-80s. Well, I guess late 70s to late 80s. I don't remember if it was the internet or if it was LA Times, but I'm thinking, oh, I gotta paint their portraits. Because it's the same sort of thing as the molesters, you know, these people that are trying to reach a certain level of aesthetic of beauty, of physical beauty, with almost like torturing themselves to do that. It's just so much nicer to be who you are. Just behave. You're okay. It's so much better to be normal. I always wanted to be average. That's my goal in life.
Why do you Crush me. Lady.